So we've been watching MotoGP for 1 month now, and we've been analyzing it. We decided to share this. I guess we can start with Qatar.
I think it was one of the best first races that I've seen in a long time. I think it hasn't been since Marquez and Dovizioso were battling it out that we've seen a race so exciting. Except this one had several riders battling for good positions instead of just one or two. What was your take?
I think this race it comes down to a lot of not just how aggressive you ride and how fast you ride, but how well you conserve your tires. We saw, for example, Acosta, the only rookie in there, come up, and I mean he was the most exciting rider that race, but his tires did not let him end the race. Probably would have thought he could have finished. For example, Marquez coming number four, and he seemed like he wasn't too aggressive. I know that that's what at first that was your input at first. Not sure if you still feel that way, but
I agree.
I think that when I see him, I see what Martin did. I think he was actually a smart move from them. They were in good position, so it was more about conserving the tires instead of trying to kill the tires. It was like they got good points. Martin was in a pole position, so he finished third, so he was getting a good amount of points. Marquez was right behind him. There was no need to risk something out in that track that is so evil to to those tires. So I think that's my take on that.
Yeah, I still stand with my first take on Marcus taking it very cautiously. I think whether it's a smart move or not, I think it's just not the Marcus I'm used to. Pecco Bagnaia way out and got straight from the first lap. He basically led the entire race, laying down like a gauntlet and saying like this is I'm going to be giving it 100% of the 100% of the time. I think this is something that Marcus should have done. Obviously, he was able to conserve his tires better than other riders, like you said, Acosta,
I
podium
think
place. To like
yeah.
that bit of a push would not have destroyed the tires. Like obviously, pushing for first
Mm,
would have, but pushing for third,
but
I think that's and Marcus said himself at the end of his race when they interviewed him, he's just not comfortable on the bike yet, and
yeah,
that's why he's being cautious. Again, like it's probably the smart thing. It's just not what I wanted to see from Mark.
um, Pecco had a perfect race. He took
Mhm.
off from the beginning, and then he conserved his tires. He he pushed it the amount of weight. Like, it was just a perfect race. But I think the big surprise for all of us is Mr. KTM, Mr. Binder. That
Yeah,
that right there was a very well raced run from him. I don't think no one was expecting him to come up. I mean, we knew the KTM's were, you know, could
strong.
contend against the Ducatis, but I don't think no one saw him running this race this well and coming in second.
Brad Binder's performance was so strong. I think like we talked about like what do you think he's gonna do in Portugal, especially in Portugal where it's basically a roller coaster. That track it's just it's
Yes.
so hard to maneuver. He did in my view like it's the same kind of performance. I think Brad Bender is definitely going above all expectations here. He definitely gets a win for me on both races.
Like he still comes in fourth. He's still doing extremely well. Binder is probably being the surprise of this year so far.
Mhm.
We gave W's and L's for just the race. The W's we gave for this first race were obviously first for Pecco. He,
For sure.
you know,
Yeah.
we both gave him a W. There was no better way to run this race.
Mhm.
Number two to Ducati for winning so much. Uh, and then number three was to Binder. Now the L's, uh, we we both gave an L to Honda. I want to touch on this how disappointing for Honda to be doing the way that they're doing, and this is both on their satellite and on their main team.
Agreed.
It's just very disappointing.
Yeah, I
And
think To that point, I think one of the L's that we gave was also Yamaha, and we saw and at the time at the end of the first race, what we had talked about is, let's see how they evolve from race to race, and in Yamaha's case, they came back and they did extremely well in Portugal, uh, but we didn't see that from Honda. We wanted to see the evolution. We know that there's shortcomings with the bike. We know that this bike probably won't be fighting for a championship.
Definitely
But
not.
but we were in the same boat with Yamaha. We know that Yamaha right now isn't as strong as they once were, and so but seeing how what they learned from the first race, how they apply it to their philosophy of race, how they apply it to their bike, Yamaha were able to come and really advance. Where Honda, we're just it's stuck in the same place. And I know you have specific people you want to target at Honda who need to perform better.
And I mean, and so you like, right? I know that you are a little more critique of Alex Marquez, and the first race he does okay, but Alex is once again coming very very short, so I can't even defend him against your critiques on him. One of the L's that I gave on the first race was Bersecki. I was very disappointed for him coming way at the end of the pack
Hmm.
because we know how strong he was. He was competing for the first title, for first place on 2023. So we know what he's capable of. He is riding at Ducati. We were expecting better, and we do see him do better now
Hmm.
in in the Portuguese race. So he comes in sixth. So that's exactly the improvement that we
Exactly.
like to see from these type of riders.
I think we could start with like most improved. I think Bezeki is one of what definitely on there. And I think Jack Miller,
Yes,
definitely most improved. Yamaha improved a lot. Martin, I know that he went from third to first, but like being able to get over that bump is a
yes,
huge deal because we've got last race, we got Bagnaia getting all 25 points, and now Martin gets all 25 points with the added that Bagnaia didn't get any points because he crashed out. This season just seems like it's going to be very exciting. You can't
oh
leave
yes.
any points behind.
You cannot make any mistakes. And yeah, let's talk about the crash.
Mm,
I'm gonna blame 80% on Pecco because there was no need to make that aggressive comeback in there, in that turn at least. That
mhm.
amount of points that he was fighting for were not that big. So I think I blame him for my takeaway is he's getting desperate. He sees the rookie overtake him twice, and the second time is a good one. He just loses his cool and starts to ride in a different way. What is your take? Whose fault do you give?
I don't. To me, it's just a racing incident. Both of them had options. That's what I'm saying. Like I think it's a racing incident. It happens because people have different racing styles. And I think that's something we have to remember. Like not every like the racing line isn't something that you're going to be able to have all the time. When you're riding with 20 something other riders, like it's you're going to have to be taking you're going to have to be taking different things into consideration, which is what your point is. Like he didn't have to take that line. If you know that you're not always going to have that racing line, Pecco didn't have to take that line. But in Marcus's point of view, obviously that's what he wanted him to do. But Marcus also had other options. He knew he wasn't in the right position to completely take that spot, that place from Pecco. But and so to me, like it's just 50-50. It's just these things just happen in racing. I don't think I can just blame one person and say this is the reason why he crashed. It's just different racing philosophies coming together.
I like the fact that Mark Marquez was actually able to compete again in this
Mhm.
race. It's really nice to see him win a sprint uh, podium again and be top. What is your take on that?
Yeah, no, I think it's when you crash out, it's not always easy to get back on the track, and the fact that he was able to get back and being so close to getting a point. It just goes to show that Mark is hungry. I think Mark is back, and he's. I can't wait to see what he does when he finally gets full control over his Desmosedici.
My favorite rider of this race is going to go to Acosta. The way he's running fearless, the overtake that he has. I mean, the picture that he posted on his Instagram, where he's ahead of Pecco and ahead of Mark, and it's priceless. It's like a slam dunk type of
Hmm.
picture, right? Like, it doesn't get better than that. And he beat them both. It's not just, oh, I overtook him in this lap. No, I beat him, and I'm one of the youngest guys to have a podium ever. Like, I'm
Hmm.
one of the youngest. So I congrats to him. I think he takes my W. Um, my L, I'm gonna give it to Aprilia, and it's really sad because even though we have Fernandez not finishing on his Aprilia, we were seeing Vinales run a really, really good race, and he was in second, and
Hmm.
there was none all out of nowhere in the last lap. The Aprilia just decided to say no more, and gives a second rider to not finish the race. What is your take on them?
Yeah, no, agreed. I think they left a lot to be desired, right at the end there. But at least we see promise from like Vinales. I mean, Vinales didn't run a bad race in Qatar, and like you said, he was doing well here in Portugal. And so there is definitely a lot of promise there we've seen. I think the disappointment definitely comes in. They haven't really taken advantage of it. It's just like what we said, with Honda, Yamaha, and all and like Jack Miller, for example, is we need to see that improvement. I want to see what they're learning, how they apply it to this next race in Austin, which should be very similar to Portugal because of the super high elevation changes, and it's very twisty.
Yeah, let's talk about Argentina for a second. No Argentina this year. The new president. How do you feel about not seeing the Argentina Grand Prix this year?
We don't have a lot of races in the Western Hemisphere to begin with, and much less in South America. Having Argentina was a big deal for Latin America, um, and now we're left without that race. And I think that's the biggest loss there. It's not even for MotoGP, it's for the fans. If we want to see in the future a fandom that is strong in South America, and even future riders who want to from Latin America who want to see themselves in MotoGP, having that added we get to race in Latin America. I mean, think about how it looks for right now. We only have in Formula One, we have one Latin American, Sergio Perez. And every time we're on this side of the ocean, like especially when we're Latin America and we do the Mexico race or Brazil race, there's a lot of support there for
Everyone
him. Everyone
watches.
loves it, and that's what we're losing with this. It's
Yes.
not. That just makes me cringe. It's just so
Yeah,
sad.
yeah. We don't just lose one race; we're losing the Latin American race, which is a
Hmm.
sad thing. So I agree with you. Let's talk about um, La Bestia. He's back. La Bestia getting second place. He's doing great because he did pretty good on the first time on the first race. He gets fifth place, I believe, is, behind Marquez and Mark. And now in this one, he comes in second place. It's exciting to see him coming back because this is the race where he got injured last year. So
Yeah.
last year we saw this great rider go away for the whole season, and you know how memories come back and riders get scared in the centers. And he even mentioned how he could feel everything come back again when he was going to the same turn again. But
Hmm.
his mindset was strong. He kept it where he's supposed to. Someone else, I'll give a W coming in second place, definitely.
I agree.
Um, and let's go ahead and talk about the winner. that at the beginning of this whole before the race started, we both decided to say who we thought was gonna win. I went with Martin. I said I think this is the year we see a satellite uh, bike beat the main bike. Jorge Martin's in first place right now. So, what are give me your thoughts on Martin?
Yeah, Martin is doing everything right now. I think he would have liked to have gotten at least second in Qatar, but the fact that Pecco crashed out of this race kind of makes up for that. You know, he didn't need to have the full points in Qatar because Pecco has no points in this race.
Yes,
And so that definitely gives him the edge. He's doing everything right. He's staying at the top, lead pack. He doesn't let the lead pack get too far in front of him. If their first race was Pecco putting down drawing the line in the sand, going, I'm going crazy, I'm going all out this year. This was Jorge Martin saying, "Oh yeah, me too."
yes.
Yes,
Both title riders for 2023 have won a race right now. So how exciting is that? It's like we know
this
they
is the
are the
best thing.
best riders.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think
And interesting fact is the 89th victory for Ducati. He runs with the number
number
89.
89. Yeah.
Whenever Bersecki was running with Ducati and won the 72 victory, he had number 72. And then we go to Pekov when he won the 63rd victory. He had number 63, and we take this way back. One of my favorite riders, Casey Stoner, he gets 27th victory for Ducati with the number 27. So look at look at that. That's a crazy coincidence.
Yeah, these happen often in MotoGP. You think about Valentino Rossi. He had it was basically like 46 races where he didn't get a point until he finally won again after he came back to Yamaha. It was like the 46th. I forgot. There's a whole bunch of 46 there too. It's kind of fun to see how
Total
numbers line up
coincidence.
with a long enough timeline. Enough numbers will line up, and it's kind of fun to see that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, anything else you want to add about these riders before we give W's and L's and give our predictions for Austin?
No, let's do it. Let's go through your W's.
Okay, so we only give three W's and three losses, even though there's a lot of people in here doing better. Doing Number one W for me is gonna go to Ducati. Once again, Ducati is just showing they're the best bike right now,
Hmm.
and it's not even close. Number two, Martin. I'm gonna give Jorge Martin my number two W because at first I was a little disappointed that he had lost to the KTM bike
Hmm.
and to Binder, and now I see that he's been there in the right spots. Yeah, he got beat by the KTM. Yeah, he lost his sprint challenge to Marquez, but he's still getting all the points, and that's what matters. He's the only one consistently getting points.
Hmm.
So he gets my second W. My third W goes to Pedro Acosta. He
Hmm.
is definitely the most exciting rider that we have this year in the track. There's no one else riding the way he rides. He's sliding his tires back and forth um,
Stoner.
like Casey Stoner used to do. Super exciting to see. And my three L's, once again, Honda. This another L. I'm gonna have to give Alex Marquez an L because he's disappointing me so far. I know that he takes longer to come. We saw MotoG when he was in Moto 2, took him many years to finally win it. But you would expect him being with the same back so long now that he would be up there with his brother at least.
Yeah.
And my third L is gonna go to Aprilia. How can you lose the race, the second place race with so little to go, and the bike just turns off? It just seems it's so embarrassing for your bike. Your L's and W's.
W.
Yes.
I think I'm just gonna go back to my first W. After the first race too, it's us, the spectators. We're getting an amazing season. It's two races in. and I'm fully engrossed in the championship race with only two races in. Usually, it takes a couple of races for the season to kind of grow into itself. This one came out fully grown and everything. It's exciting. It's good for the sport, especially going through what we talked about losing Argentina. This sport needs this season to be amazing to keep hold of our attention and all of that. So yeah, no, I think this the first W is that. Second W, I'm there with you, Martin. Again, doing all the right moves. Again, he probably would have liked to have gotten second place. He probably wish he would have pushed a little bit more. To my point earlier, but I think again, like he's just doing the right things in the right spots. And if you're in the right place at the right time often enough, good things will happen, and we see that with Martin. And yeah, so and the last win I think I have here. Obviously, there's other winners. I mean, Brad Binder, Jack Miller, and all that. But the top W here, another one is Acosta, like you said. He is riding outside of his mind. It's super exciting, and he's doing to me like what he needs to be doing. He needs to go out there, cement himself as someone to look out for, and
The next big thing.
exactly. Like and he's doing that aggressively, which again is something that I like. As if you hadn't noticed my critiques of Marquez and stuff. He's being aggressive with it, and I think that's what you need in a field of every single writer in here is an excellent writer. I mean, we kind of forget that because compared to each other, there might be a big difference, between first place and last place. But if we keep things into perspective, these are the best 24 writers in the entire world.
Of
Um,
all.
and so to me, like Costa going out there and cementing himself and going, I'm not here to half-ass anything. I
And he
think
doesn't have a Ducati bike or a
exactly, or
primary KTM bike. He's on a
yeah,
satellite gas bike.
exactly. So to me, that's exactly what is happening. He's doing it beautifully. Um, Els, yeah, Honda, like Honda, what are you doing? Like, I'm a Honda fan. I ride a Honda, and it's just making me really, really sad. Um, Alex Marquez, he should be doing better, and I've been saying this, for years now. Like, he needs to step up, which is something you've said about Nakagami. They need to step up already. Like we know you're here in MotoGP for a reason. You're not just here.
We know the potential that they have shown, and
Exactly.
that's the only reason why we expectation is so much higher because like, hey, I've seen your potential.
Yeah, you're in MotoGP. Let's do something with this. You have in Marcus's case, you have a good bike. Obviously, with him, it's not all is lost. He did well in Qatar. So yeah, we'll just see how he evolves, what he learned about Portimao, what can he take into Coda.
I think an extra nail that I'm gonna give out is gonna be to Pecco.
Bonus L.
Bonus nail to goes to Pecco because he's threading very fine line. Like man, you should not be making mistakes. Yeah, your predictions to who wins the next one, just really quick, and I'll give mine. Who wins the next one?
Ooh, I want to say Marquez, Mark Marquez. Why? Because he's got a Ducati.
He
So
knows his
already thought that
Ducati.
Marquez was the Coda king. He won his first race at Coda. He won, several years in a row at Coda. This is a place where he feels comfortable. Like you were saying before with Bastianini, there's certain things that come into muscle memory, how you're riding a certain track. This is Marquez's track. I want to see him win this race, um, for his mental health, for the excitement that's gonna
Sport.
bring. Yeah.
Same thing here. That's funny that you're choosing him. I think he has the chance to get definitely first place in there. It's the fastest track. in MotoGP. Yes. So I agree. I think I'm excited. I'm rooting for Mark as well. And I think we see another podium from Mr. Acosta.
I hope
Do you
so.
think you
I
see
really hope so, actually. Yeah.
it? Sounds good, man. Well, it's nice that we went over this.
This is
So
gonna be
next,
exciting. Yeah, let's
yes.
let us know in the comments below what your predictions are, who your W's and L's are, and give us your most crazy prediction for the season. What do you think is going to happen throughout the course of the season? We want to hear it. Thanks for tuning in.